What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Washed Nuggets podcast, the show where a couple of cousins talk hoops, the NBA, and keep you updated on everything you need to know about your Denver Nuggets. Fellas, we made it. We're out of the off season, and we're hitting the ground running hard into the regular season of the 2025-2026 season. Feels crazy to even say that. I'm your host, Pat Kennedy, and I'm joined by a great panel of co-hosts. I got Matty Ice in Denver, Colorado. How you doing, Matty?
Doing pretty good, man. Excited to be back. Regular season, here we go.
Yes, sir. Also joined by KP, Ken P the Kid, K Bear, and the Lou.
Any of those nicknames tend to work. I'm doing great. Coming off the high of last weekend, but I'm doing well. It's been nice to have some Nuggets basketball to kind of hold myself down after work and have something to look forward to watch while I'm eating dinner. So things have been great. Glad to be back into the swing of things.
Surely. Yeah, and so we're recording this show on Thursday, October 30th, the day before Halloween. So I got the boys kind of in the Halloween spirit, dressing up as some Nuggets players. Looks like those two, you two got the was that the 2023 City Edition? Are you guys both repping Yoke?
I'm repping the Yoke.
Yeah, I like that. I'm repping my Navy away. I guess they wear these. I mean, they don't even have away versus home jerseys anymore, but this is my favorite Nuggets jersey. And then in the background, I got my Happy Gilmore jersey. I'm dressing up as Happy Gilmore tomorrow.
That'll be perfect.
So,
yeah, that's great.
You give Happy Gilmore vibes for sure.
I like it. Getting really mad after a bad swing too. Throwing the gloves and stuff. All right, let's get into it. A couple news and notes. The boys trip finally made it out of the group chat, the Washed Kings group chat to be specific. We visited Kennedy in the St. Louis last week in the Lou. Thursday we got in. Evan got in pretty late, but Cam joined us from his venture in not San Francisco. Why am I spacing? I almost said San Antonio.
Sacramento.
Oh, I thought we were still saying he's on his mission.
No, that's where he's doing his mission.
That's where he's doing his
mission in Sacramento. That's right.
He got an exception.
Yeah. So we watched the tail end of that Nuggets watch. Kind of heartbreaking loss in overtime, but it happens. Ev got in late that night, or I guess kind of the next morning. And then Friday, it was to visit Mr. Phillips at work. Got to visit where Kennedy works at his high school, and then had a boys' day out, as the street performer in St. Louis said. He said, "Boys' day."
You had a whole song written for us.
Yeah,
we did.
song.
And then we played some bocce ball. That was my first time playing
Is
bocce ball.
Is it bocce ball? Bocce ball?
One of the two.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. And then later we went to the high school football game at Kennedy's.
We stuffed that bus.
Stuffed the bus. Kennedy, do you want to explain what stuffed the bus means?
Meanwhile, I'm having the leftover from Friday night. Been saving it. Been saving it for the pod. So we're running a canned food drive called the Great Nation Challenge. This is my second year, kind of the main guy, the head point of it all, the point man. And we run like an initiative during some football games sometimes where people can bring cans instead of paying for a ticket. So we were charging 6 cans for a ticket, and it was this weird kind of awesome mesh of my work life and what's really been my personal life at school, mixed in with dudes that I've known me my whole life. So it was a really cool crossover. It was pretty dang funny to see everybody interacting and having a good time. So, but we killed our record from last year in terms of how much food we collected at that specific game. And we got another big day tomorrow. We're having a Halloween collection. So lots to come. If anybody is out there listening, feel free to shoot me a little cash, and I'll go out and buy some cans for a good cause.
Yeah, DM us on our socials, and we'll get you K Bear's Venmo.
The Great Nation Challenge, sponsored by Dude Wipes.
Sponsored by Dude Wipes.
Could be the move.
I was really glad we could help out with that canned food drive.
Ken, do we have a final tally or a final tally of how many pounds of canned food we had that night?
From that night, I can pull it up, but I know in total, or because we started our first day on Thursday before you guys came out, and then we had a little bit of a morning collection that morning as well. But I think we collected like almost 2,000 pounds in that one single night, which is really good. Last year we only collected like a couple hundred or something like that. Let me check. Yeah, about 1,500 from the first night of Stuff the Bus. So we're already at about 10,000, which is like almost a third of the way towards our goal after 2 weeks. So hopefully we're smashing that goal.
Yeah, that's
Heck
great.
yeah,
That was
that's
really
awesome.
really fun to help you out with that and help a good cause. And then Saturday was kind of our big day. We started off at the St. Louis Zoo. That was a really fun
Dude.
time. Got a picture with K Bear, with an actual grizzly bear. That was really fun. Then we went on the Budweiser tour, which I thoroughly enjoyed. We also visited with some family, our parents' cousin, who lives out in St. Louis, and then we had a night out on the town pretty much. And then Sunday, a couple of guys left, but we walked around Ballpark District at Busch Stadium. Went to a couple of record shops and watched the Broncos.
Mhm.
So had a nice little end to the trip. But I want to ask you guys, what was your guys' favorite part of the trip to St. Louis?
That's such a tough question. We did a ton, and I think every day was almost better than the next. Um, I would have to say, or better than the last. I would have to say Saturday's was my favorite day, and then I think being able to visit with family and kind of have a good wholesome like laugh around the dinner table was great.
Yeah.
And you guys, I mean, I was the one there that wasn't blood related in the family, but I definitely felt welcome, and it was a great experience, and it was super fun to kind of be around you guys in that space that I haven't been able to see before. So I think Saturday night was my favorite.
Yeah, that was really fun. Countless laughs.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah.
Not only that night, but throughout the whole trip. So fun. We're joking that Matty Ice is the long lost cousin. I mean, you fit right in. You're tall just like the rest of us.
Everybody continues to make me look
Yeah.
short. I appreciate that.
Ken, what was your favorite thing that the boys did out visiting?
I feel like having you, as I kind of harped on earlier, having you guys at DeSmet helping out and kind of seeing me in my bag a little bit was really cool, really special. I think we've joked about it for kind of years. Like, what would it be like if you guys were to sit in on a class or see me interact with kids? And I feel like we joke about what I'm like as a teacher quite a bit. You didn't see me in the classroom, but I think you guys getting to see how I interact with students and parents and coworkers and just being around the building was really special to me. I'll probably remember that night for a long time. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. It was really cool to see kind of your actual environment versus like the idea I had in my head. Well, that's good. I'm glad we'll all have different favorites.
What was yours, Pat?
Mine was the
Oh
Budweiser
yeah.
tour, and it was really
yeah.
fun.
That was
Got a couple free beers out of it. It was just fascinating. I mean, the brewing process. I mean, how big that facility is, and the history behind like the Anheuser-Busch
I feel like you forget how big it is, or maybe you don't even realize how big it is. Like the amount of breweries and things that they own, and how they all kind of started in St. Louis. It's crazy.
We didn't even I mean, the tour kind of takes you around the grounds, but going inside of buildings, I mean, we probably saw less than 20% of entirety of that brewery and that facility. So that was a very eye-opening, very cool experience. But they also touched on the one in Fort Collins, because there's one here in Colorado.
Was it New Belgium?
No, it's Budweiser.
Oh, there's a Budweiser there.
There's a Budweiser one. Yeah, as you drive up I-25, it's like right off the left. If you're going north, it's like right off the left-hand side
Didn't know
of the
that.
highway. So pretty cool.
Yeah. So glad we could share some of our fun times with our few listeners. We're trying to grow the show, so thanks for tuning in. But we'll get right into our main segment, and that is breaking down the Nuggets' first week of the 2025-2026 season. So last Thursday, a week ago from when this show is being recorded, the Nuggets opened out in Golden State. Unfortunately, lost in overtime. The final score 137-131. This is the only loss that they had in week one, and it came at a very highly competitive affair. In this game, Aaron Gordon, oh my gosh, he dropped 50 on 17 of 21 shooting, 10 of 11 from three. I mean, just one of the most dominant performances we've ever seen from that man. And it's just kind of ironic, Mr. Nugget, and he always has something special with his numbers, and him dropping 50 in game one. You just kind of have the vibes that it's going to be a special year for him. And then Jokic posted one of his usual triple doubles, 21, 13, and 10. I mean, the name of the game was a Steph Curry game. The Warriors really leaned on him in the clutch, and sometimes you just lose to Steph Curry, and I bet every single team, countless times, has dealt with that. And in addition, I think the Warriors backcourt came through in comparison to ours. So the biggest takeaway I'd have from that game one was even when Denver's top guys dominate, late game execution and defense become crucial, and especially on the road. And we saw this a few times last season, especially towards the end of this.
I think that from that game, something that we kind of brought up multiple times when we were watching it was like we could tell a little bit it was the Nuggets' first game, and we could tell also on the other hand that the Warriors had already played. I think they played on Tuesday of that week and kind of had that first game jitters out of the way. Apparently AG had no jitters. I mean, he just went bananas, but we kind of at least made ourselves feel a little bit better about it by saying that it was their second game, our first game. But since then, we've looked pretty good. I think you're maybe moving on to the second game, Pat.
And then game two.
I was just going to say, if you wanted me to go for it, I could.
You want to go?
We had game two, which we kind of were able to check in here and there, but we didn't get to like sit down and watch the whole game. But we were following along pretty closely. Really kind of a good old fashioned butt kicking for the Nuggets in terms of what we've been expecting from them this season, what we've been excited for. Now the Suns aren't kind of what we are used to when it comes to their depth and kind of some of their pieces on the team. I mean, they have an ex-Nugget legend, Colin Gillespie, playing a lot of good minutes for them, and they got D Book kind of still being the man. But I think having another crazy just Jokic stat line, he went 14, 14, and 15. Just kind of a typical Jokic night. It's always doing something that sounds funky and sounds different. I think I was listening to a pod saying that he was like one of the first people to do that again since Wilt, or one of the only people that has that stat line.
Yeah, always.
CB looked a little bit better in that game, and just a little bit more involved with the offense. I feel like that game one, it was a lot of AG, almost to a fault. I feel obviously it was great to see him perform, but sometimes even like when Jokic has like 50 bombs, I feel like sometimes it takes away from like the original or like the ultimate flow of the Nuggets. But seeing more guys contribute in game two, but overall, like seeing the bench coming in, that's something we'll get to, I'm sure. But just all around, like showing some of that depth was really good to see, and kind of kicking off at home with our first home win of the year.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought up Christian Braun. He had 20 points on 6 of 10 shooting, and he was a perfect 8 from 8 from the free throw line. So good to see a good stat line from him.
He should be in the Knights of Columbus free throw competition.
Yeah, he should. Matty Ice, your takeaways from that one?
Yeah, I mean it looked it looked like a complete game from the Nuggets, and one of the first instances of us seeing them mesh well together. And like we were kind of harping on all off season is that the front office has put together a really solid group, and I think this is one of the first. I think this is the first game this year that we saw bench contributions that we hadn't seen in previous years. And I remember in our group chat, when we were talking about it is in person, is that holy cow, we have a bench. and something that we haven't seen before, and it kind of got us super excited, and I loved it. I loved watching that. I love seeing CB he's kind of growing into his own, and he still has those times and those games that he'll struggle a little bit, but it's good to see him put up a 20 piece and contribute the way that he has, and he's definitely earned a spot on the starting roster. So it was great. It was great to see that.
Yeah, no doubt. I like how you described it as a complete performance. I mean, on all aspects, offense, defense, and bench contributions. I mean, that's one of the biggest things that we've been looking for, and one of the biggest things we've been excited for this season. And then Monday against Minnesota, or in Minnesota, it was a good win, 127-114. Jamal Murray just had an absolute heroic effort. Went for 43 points, carried a big chunk of the load, especially through the third quarter. He came out guns a-blazing there in the second half. Jokic, of course, again, logged another triple-double.
Of course.
Of course, helping with that momentum and balance. It's just another like quiet triple-double too. He's just such a great court facilitator. Yeah, and in that game, Denver really leaned on the transition offense, spacing, and taking advantage of Minnesota's vulnerabilities, especially with Ant out. And it was really big to win that game. I think in the last 6 matchups, I mean, Minnesota's really had our number. So it's really awesome for us to get that one. And my biggest takeaway from that game is that when Jamal Murray's cooking, Denver's offense is literally unstoppable. And hopefully we see that from a consistent Murray this year and a deep bench. But what were your guys' takeaways from that game?
I feel like after the first 2 games, I mean, Jokic is such an anomaly because he'll have a triple double, and we feel like we're not getting enough from him. Where he doesn't seem as engaged, or maybe a little sloppy, or any of those kind of complaints you might see, or just doesn't feel like he's dominant. For those first 2 games, obviously the Nuggets looked pretty good, but Jokic, I mean, had triple doubles. Again, I can't say he was bad, but I think like the first quarter, he kind of just went right at Rudy Gobert. And I think it's always just so awesome to see that matchup, and he just doesn't seem like he even sees Gobert on the floor, which, I mean, every other player in the NBA sure seems to feel his presence when they're on the court and kind of be a little nervous to be around the rim with his shot blocking ability. So seeing Jokic just go at him, I feel like that's always a little bit of a personal matchup for him. So seeing him get after it early, and then really seeing Jamal, as you harped on, we've been talking, we've been excited. Matt's blazing hot take this summer, talking about Jamal being MVP, right? There's been a lot of hype about him. He's in shape. But to see him come out game 3 and drop 40, 43, I think I saw something saying that he's in the month of October, November, like some of his career highs are 25, 30 points. So seeing him above 40 or this early in the season is great. Now I did see tonight that he's actually questionable with the calf strain. So we can't always be Jamal's gonna be Jamal. But we got to be happy with the early successes. But I think that seeing us beat the Wolves always feels good. It's been a while, and even a game without Ant, I think that sometimes when that superstar's out of the game, like you can kind of take your foot off the gas pedal a little bit. But Nuggets meant business. I felt like they wanted to win that one for sure.
Yeah, Matt, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we'll touch on Jamal Murray because this was kind of the Jamal Murray game, and I love that he's playing with the confidence that he is now to start the season. And I think not only did his work in the offseason pay off for us to see that, he's in shape, and we can kind of break out of the rhetoric of the offseason Jamal Murray, but I think it's given him confidence to kind of go out and play the way that he's capable of playing, pending this calf strain that he's got going on. But it's one of those things that it's really, really cool to see a star player of yours kind of just fit into the mold that he should be in, and we've actually seen him play in, especially this early in the season. So I loved it. Like you said, Pat, when he's on, the offense is insanely hard to stop, and we definitely showed that. It's game 3 was, I think game 2 versus Phoenix was kind of like the opener of like, okay, yeah, the Nuggets are here, and uh, on Monday, game 3 was just like, yep, we know it. Like we've seen it back to back games, and then we'll get into game 4, but yeah,
Yeah, broke the bad juju that we've
yeah,
had
definitely.
One thing I meant to bring up as well was like, again, something that we saw in game 2, but bench contributions. I feel like that was kind of Tim Hardaway's first game really showing out. Just being a loose cannon off the bench, taking shots and making shots. And I think that there's going to be a little bit of back and forth with him sometimes, and he might be a frustrating player. But when he's scoring off the bench, I'm thinking of a word, but I can't think of it. When he's producing, there it is, off the bench, it's huge. And I think he had like 20 something points, a couple threes, a couple mid rangers. And he seemed to kind of have that FU energy a little bit towards the Wolves as well, which I love to see. Everybody kind of pulling the same rope, which was really cool. And then he backed it up with another good night last night against New Orleans as well. So it's good to see some of that bench contribution and some of the new guys fitting in.
Yeah, certainly. All right, let's hop into game 4, which occurred last night on Wednesday against New Orleans. Just an absolute blowout of a game, 122-88. And I thought this one was just definitely a statement win. Just back on the home floor, and a game that you should definitely win by at least 20. They really took advantage of that. Another triple double by Jokic, 21, 12, and 10. To open the season with 4 straight triple doubles. He
Oh,
becomes the third player to ever do that.
He's going
So
82 for
I think that,
82.
yeah, I mean, it
I
has
was
to
gonna
start
say
somewhere.
he's on pace for 82, man. Like
Yeah.
that's insane. That's insane.
So what's the record to start the season? Is it 4?
I want to say it was
Maybe our
3 and maybe he broke it, or maybe it's 4 and he tied it. It's definitely
I'll find
it's
out.
up there.
Oh,
maybe our super.
our producer thinks it's 5.
Okay, mystery super producer. Yeah. Anyways, I'll keep going on my notes from this game. Yeah, I mean, New Orleans never got in sync really. I mean, maybe a little bit in that second quarter, but Denver really controlled the tempo, especially in that second half. They started with a 29-2 run, really pushed the pace and protected the rim. My biggest takeaway from that one, I mean, it's just the type of dominant win that builds confidence and sets the tone for the season, especially this early on your home court.
I think it was. I mean, I was tuning in while I was making dinner, or maybe eating dinner, and it was like right before the second half is when I could really like tune in and watch instead of listen. And all of a sudden, like the Nuggets starters were kind of losing the lead a little bit, and I was a little frustrated going into half. Some turnovers, some sloppy plays, and all of a sudden, kind of gave New Orleans life. And then it seemed like right after half, the Nuggets just completely flipped a switch and kind of treated them like they shouldn't even be on the same court. Um, Defense kind of picked up. Obviously, New Orleans is not an offensive juggernaut by any means, but to see the Nuggets kind of lock in, see guys like Peyton Watson having an impact off the bench with his defense, with his he had a really nice kind of a double block at the rim and then out at the wing to block a three. And just the energy of guys flying around, even seeing P. Watt get a block and then sprinting down the floor. There was one where he got a block and then I think Hardaway came up the court and you could see P. Watt just flying to the rim. But then Hardaway pulled up for three and cashed it. So I was like, this is pretty cool. Like 2 guys off the bench making an impact. Putting together that huge run, it felt like it was just all Nuggets, and it was. It was that 29-2 is crazy. I feel like you do not see that often at all. So seeing that and then kind of being able to ride out the fourth and get some bench minutes for some guys, it got a little ugly. But I think that hopefully with this kind of production off the bench, it's going to be some time for Jokic to, relax, get a little bit of time off the court, maybe keep, taking care of his body here and there. I know we're only 4 games in and we've played a couple good teams, a couple teams that are, I'd say 2 teams we've played that are pretty solid, some contenders. And then you got the Suns in New Orleans, which might have a little bit more of a rough year. But I feel like the Nuggets just kind of came out that second half and just absolutely stole like the souls from the Pelicans last night. Like they did not want to be out there.
Yeah, it had me a little nervous. I had the Nuggets first time and full time in my
Hmm.
parlay or uh, first half winners and full time game winners. It's a part of my PKs DKs. But Matty Ice, your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, man. I mean, it was an embarrassment for the Pelicans, to be completely honest with you. So, and I'm not gonna really harp on them because we're talking about the Nuggets. So I just love that kind of something that we touched on earlier that Ken touched on is Denver never let up the tempo. Like they just it was pedal to the metal the whole time, and that 29-2 run, like you said, Ken, was incredible and something that I really haven't seen out of almost any team. And I think something that I took away from this game was Jonas Valanciunas really meshing well.
Hmm.
And I think we kind of we saw some, spur of the moment meshing in the first couple games. But I think he played incredibly well for the minutes that he played in this in game 4. And something that was talked about on the broadcast was, they're talking about Jonas Valanciunas, and they said, "Oh, he's a starting NBA center, and he's backing up
Yeah,
Jokic." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Who else? Who else does a starting NBA center back up other than Jokic?"
the
And
goat.
that the goat, that was really cool for me to see. But it was an ass whooping for sure, and something you love to see on the home court.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be a tough thing, like for Big Val to do, like accept that backup role, especially being the starting center. I mean, I mean, on any other team, he's probably that starting center, like you said. Um, but I mean, it seems like he's been enjoying the vibes of, like he's bought into his role, which we're a little bit nervous about when the Nuggets got that acquisition. Uh, and there's a quote after the game. He said, "It's fun to enjoy basketball. It's fun to have that fun on the court." So he's really enjoying himself, and just good to see some of these new guys mesh with the team.
Got some Justin Holiday basketball is fun again vibes.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no doubt.
I feel like that's
I do
probably
want
the
to
same for him and Bruce, because Bruce kind of
Yeah.
Bruce has been in basketball hell a little bit, and seeing him on the court smiling, enjoying himself, has been really cool to see.
I do want to touch on that real quick, KP, because Bruce had a defensive possession or a defensive stop that led to the ball getting turned over, going out of bounds, and he was just a
Yeah,
pest, total pest. And he was, as soon as that ball went out of bounds, he turned to the Nuggets bench and was fired up, and it was so cool to see. I mean, he really embodies, what he said about being back in
yeah.
Denver, and loves being back here and playing for the Nuggets. And that raw emotion of him just like exploding after a fantastic defensive stop was super cool. So that's all I got.
Yeah, yeah. So that's our little breakdown of the first 4 games. Fellas, what are the vibes? How are we feeling?
Pretty good.
Love it.
I think it's been kind of a crazy mix. I mean, to see that Jamal's the leading scorer through 4 games, I think we'd all be very happy to hear that and believe that. And then the whole like Jokic just having a casual 4 straight triple doubles to start the season. Off to a great start. I feel like AG was super involved game 1, and he's kind of tapered off these last couple of games. We didn't even talk about the highlight like alley 360 dunk that he had. That was insane. I feel like we've just already had like some crazy highlights early on. Some cool Jokic passes per usual. We got Jamal dropping 40. And I think slowly some of these guys getting a little bit. I know Cam Johnson's not been, you know, outstanding by any means, but it was good to see him hit back-to-back threes last night. Good to see him kind of building that confidence. I think that the vibes are only going to hopefully continue to get better. And I think that with Murray, Gordon, Yoke kind of as the big three of sorts, and CB filling in where he can, kind of growing within his game. And then also for Cameron Johnson to really figure out what his role will be. I think that starting five is going to be real nasty, and bringing back some of those vibes from 2023 where we felt like that starting five was the best in basketball. I think we're second or third in offense in terms of points per game. Last night, I feel like if it were a closer game, it would have been, even higher than what we ended up putting up because the bench was not great in the fourth. So their offense has just been great. I think, as I said, maybe like the third best offensive rating so far, and hopefully we can sustain that. But vibes are great. I feel like if I had to pick one guy that I'm hoping to um, see a little bit more of that meshing, it would definitely be Cameron Johnson. I feel like it'd be similar answer for all you guys. But kind of my standout this in the four games, and the guy I'm most excited about really is actually Peyton Watson. I feel like Adelman's really kind of letting him grow into his own little role. He's got a little bit longer of a leash than maybe Malone were to give him. It's kind of cool seeing him bringing the ball up the court, seeing him competing on defense, kind of finding ways where he can maybe get in the mid range. Or I think it was the Timberwolves game where it was a little close in the third or fourth. And P-Watt hits like two corner threes, and all of a sudden the Nuggets feel real comfortable with that lead. So I feel like the whole group is kind of meshing. It's going to be interesting to see like how many minutes a Julian Strawther gets throughout the year, and some of those other deeper bench guys. But seeing everybody working together, seeing Big Val being productive, I'm feeling great. How about you guys?
Matt, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy what I've seen out of everybody. I mean, even Cam Johnson, even though he struggled a little bit, he's still nobody's a negative. I'll say that for right now. From what I've seen, nobody really stands out as someone who's kind of draining or could be a drain. In the yeah, no scapegoat yet for sure.
Mhm.
Nobody stands out as a drain. Everybody seems very bought into the process that this new coaching staff and David Adelman has brought in, and especially the front office. And I think that's something that is going to carry throughout the season. I think starting off kind of hot like this and building the mesh this way and in winning games is just going to bring the team closer. So when we do have those kind of hardship times, we're going to know that we can, or the team's going to know that they can lean on one another, right? We're going to be able to look at Tim Hardaway Jr. off the bench and say, hey man, we need a spark right here. We need a big three to get us back in this game. Maybe we're down 10, 12. We need a big spark to get us back into a single digit deficit here. And I think they'll be able to do it. Something that I harped on earlier is Big Val. I think that he's the perfect guy to bring in to back up Yoke because he's a starting center anywhere else in the league. And if you bring a guy off the bench in that center position that knows what to do, Denver has, with Jokic there, has always facilitated almost through the big. And I think Jonas Valanciunas brings that. He brings another layer to
That's a
that
good point.
as you're getting into the bench. He knows how to facilitate. He knows where to be. He knows where other guys should be. So I think he can help that bench squad along with Tim Hardaway and Bruce Brown, both vets. Even though Tim Hardaway is a definitely more of a vet than Brucey is, but Bruce has been there and Tim Hardaway has been there. So I think those three guys can definitely help P-Watt. Like you said, P-Watt's definitely got a bigger leash this year. He's been flying around like crazy. He has something to prove, I think, more than anybody else on the bench. And I think he's going to grow into his own right there. And then, yeah, my big concern, not that it's huge, is Cam Johnson. And I just think he needs a little time to, like, I think he needs, another, couple weeks to just fill into that role. And I think he was kind of in that in Brooklyn. They definitely leaned on him more as a scorer, but I would look for Cam Johnson to lean on his teammates a little bit more in Denver, especially Jamal and Christian, just to say, hey man, like we've got you. You're fine. I think he'll start as he starts getting more comfortable. He'll drain shots like we've seen him, and he'll make big plays when it matters most. He's been around. He's no stranger to this. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing with Cam Johnson, he's just got to get more shots up. I mean, he's just got to get confident, get comfortable being with this squad, which I know I'm sure a lot of these guys, even the veterans on the team, are still trying to figure it out, like trying to figure out the flow of the team. I mean, he's only getting 6.5 shots, 6, 7. It always comes up. But he's averaging 2.5 field goals for every 6.5 shot. Like he just needs to get more shots.
I agree.
I mean, in comparison to who we traded him for, MPJ. Like MPJ just shot the rock, and sometimes he'd be in a funk where, I mean, in a 4-game span, he'd average worse than what Cam is averaging right now. So I think he'll be fine. He's just got to feel the vibes out a little bit.
I feel like he's done a good job though of like being involved in the offense without scoring. I don't think like necessarily the assist numbers jump off the board by any means, but if you just watch him like working, flowing within the offense, he's moving around, he's setting off ball screens, he's trying to work with Yoke, he's cutting to the lane. I feel like things that he's trying to figure out, what he can do, even if the shot's not falling or if he's not comfortable shooting the rock as much yet. I think it's a really high level offense that's already functioning great. And he's just trying to pick and choose where he can best fit it. And it's only going to get better, I think, as he gets more comfortable. So I'm excited to see kind of how he really meshes in with that starting 5.
He is also an all-around player too,
Yeah.
especially on defense. He's had a great. I think he's a great defensive player. He's already made a bigger impact than MPJ. If we're doing the comparison game already, I think. But yeah, I think he'll grow into it, and I think this whole, this is the worst the Nuggets will look all year, just because we already are having success, but they still need to grow. I think everybody still needs to grow into their role a little bit more here, save a couple of guys, but Jokic is still kind of getting used to maybe a little bit less minutes than he's played, and having Val help him off the bench. And some of these other guys are kind of seeing where they fit in now with an adequate bench, and something that we haven't played with for the last 3 or 4 years, 5 years, maybe even longer. So yeah,
I'm glad you brought that up. Like, it's really crucial that, I mean, they're having success while also going through these growing pains.
Yeah.
Once they're through it, for the most part, I mean, man, you know how scary this Nuggets team
Yeah.
will be. I mean,
and it's not much of growing. It's not much of growing pains either right now. Not that we're seeing. There's gonna be spots where guys go cold, but that's where we get into a situation where you guys in the chat. I think that's where we get into a spot where you can lean on somebody else, right? You can lean on the Tim Hardaway to get you a big bucket. You can lean on, Jonas Valanciunas to get some big points in the paint, P. Watt to come up with a couple big blocks or some steals, and Bruce Brown to be a pest on defense. Like, you've got guys you can lean on for the starters if the starters are struggling a little bit. But as far as the offseason goes, I don't see that. And I think with the new bench, it's like a perfect, witch's brew, to be a little festive, of being able to have the starters get some adequate rest in game and then be able to come out fresh. I don't think we see a lot of the injuries or stagnation that we saw last year because guys are exhausted. I think this team is super well rounded. I think they'll be able to lean on each other and come out swinging every game, and we'll be rested more than we have been when playoffs come around. So yeah, maybe a 60-win season is coming.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't know how you guys feel watching these games. Sometimes I low-key look forward to watching the bench more than I do the starters.
Yeah,
seeing how the flow of that work, getting like plus minutes while Jokic is resting.
It is cool to see that because we haven't seen that in the past.
It's new to us.
However, it is very new to us. So I do kind of feel you, Pat. Looking forward to what I'm like. Oh, the bench is in. Let's see what these guys are gonna do, because it's exciting, and we don't really know what we're gonna get yet. But yeah,
Yeah, we'll wrap up the show. I'll leave you with one last quick question. You can answer it pretty quick if you want. Which of the new additions have you liked the most, and give a brief reasoning as to why?
Mm.
Hmm.
I'll give my answer first. I really have liked Tim Hardaway Jr. I mean, he's just going out there fresh and loose. Just you can tell he's having fun. Not really, not that he doesn't care, but he's just out there
Bro,
free
he
willy.
pulled a three last night that was like
Oh yeah,
almost from the
it was like,
logo.
yeah.
And I was like, what? And then he
So,
drained it, and I was like, oh my god,
Then he
yeah.
drained
that was
it, dude.
crazy.
Yeah,
So I mean, he's definitely been giveth thus far. I mean, I could see some games where it's a little bit like rust, where it could be take it, but I don't know. It's been really fun to. I mean, I think he's the fifth leading scorer, and he's coming off the bench. So I mean, he's been really fun, and um, I don't know. He's a great piece that I wasn't expecting to be a huge fan of 4 games in.
Man, I kind of have to second that with you, Pat. I'm equally as excited. I think I'm more excited about Big Val, because he can give Jokic rest, and we haven't seen that. And seeing Jokic well rested is going to be a problem for other teams, a problem. And like I said earlier, Big Val he's been a starting center before. He's been around the league. He knows exactly what needs to be done when he's on the court, and he's going to be able to facilitate that role. And help the bench guys kind of get going. But again, man, Tim Hardaway Jr., like Ken said, pulling up from the logo and just draining a three, playing fresh and loose, and he's a veteran, and I know that Russ is also a veteran. I think Russ plays a little bit too fresh and loose, or fast
Chaotic, yeah.
and chaotic. I think Tim Hardaway has more of like I understand what I need to do in this scenario, or what I can do in this scenario. He's pulling a three last night from the logo because he knows he can just take it, and it's probably not going to impact the game very much. But I think once you get into a situation where he's in the game and we've got a tight one, and it could go either way, he's going to have the knowledge and the wherewithal to be like, I need to be here, I need to be in X position instead of Y. Like, he's going to know where he needs to be, what he needs to do, what his role is in that exact scenario. And I think all the bench guys are going to feed on that, especially P Watt. I mean, P Watt being the youngest of these guys on the bench, he can fly around and do everything. And I think Tim Hardaway can be the chess player of that group.
I feel like with Tim, I mean, it's easier for us to compare him to Russ, but I do think that they're definitely in different roles. I feel like Russ really had to be forced last
sure.
year to try to initiate, and also that's who Russ is. He's always been an initiator. Honestly, gained a lot of respect for him last year, but I think it's a different role. But I almost like that we don't have to fill that role with Tim. It might be a similar vibe in terms of some of the shots he takes sometimes, but I definitely think he's going to kind of stick within that role, and he's not going to be handling the ball too much. My favorite, I don't know if he's necessarily a newcomer, but I think it's been really cool to see David Adelman trying out new, whether it's a zone kind of based defense, kind of toying with some of those things, toying with some lineups. I know in the preseason he was really toying around with a lot of things, but I think kind of the responsibility he's given guys like P. Watt, and even allowing a guy like Tim to come in and work with the starters here or there, or kind of influencing how Valanciunas is going to be implemented within the bench. I think that we're in for a lot of different kind of ideas and kind of ways to break up the bench unit or stagger. I don't know if we'll get away from the Jamal stagger. Obviously, I think tomorrow night it'll be a little different because he might not be playing. So we'll see. Another night, another opportunity to see kind of what Adelman has up his sleeve. I think there will be a few times this year where he might try to do a little too much and be a little too quirky. But I hope that he continues to kind of just do his own thing, and it's just a breath of fresh air for obviously the players, but also us as fans, because I think we were kind of used to a lot of things that Malone would do and how he would handle things, and a little stubborn. I'm interested to see kind of how Adelman continues to make in-game changes. So I've been excited watching him. I think as the Nuggets broadcast last night, and they're like, it's only his 7th regular season game, and I was like, oh my god,
That's crazy.
That is
he's got more
crazy.
postseason games.
Crazy take.
That's a great take.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is cool to kind of see what kind of lineups are getting thrown out, what the rotations could look like. I think he's hit the nail on the head pretty much so far, save a couple of, maybe minutes of a quarter here or there that didn't really look super great, but overall, man, he's definitely the guy that like I said a long time ago, when they first brought him in, he was the fly on the wall to all the stuff that was going on and all the stuff that was going wrong, and he's definitely got his work cut out for him, but he definitely has a better outlook on all of it than I think anybody else would, and he knows how to handle situations. I think he's a very level-headed guy. He's pretty calm. If you get him riled up, you get him riled up, but he's not the hothead like Malone was, and it's gonna be a fun season to kind of watch him at the helm for sure.
Last question. It'll be pretty quick. What is your favorite Halloween candy? Since we're getting geared up to eat a lot of it tomorrow.
I'm a Reese's guy.
I was just gonna say that.
I'm a Reese's guy.
Good.
I would say Reese's definitely my favorite. Rue, what's your favorite?
What's Rue's favorite?
Oh, hey, Rue.
Hi, Rue.
Hopefully not chocolate.
No, definitely not.
I'm gonna go grab a Reese's out of my freezer after this.
Oh,
freezer frozen Reese's. Yeah,
mine would be Snickers, that or Milky Way. I really like Milky Way growing up.
Nice.
You know what's underrated
Right,
is a Butterfinger.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And you know what's
Solid.
also appreciated but underrated is a Twix. Twixes are fire.
Yes.
Twix are good. Yeah.
Kit Kat.
Get some of that caramel in there. Oh yeah.
All right.
Twix's cat.
All right. Without further ado, give us a follow. Thanks for listening. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give us a follow on the socials. We really appreciate you. Really excited to really grow our program for you guys, especially in this new season. So without further ado, Matty Ice, hit that outro. Have a safe and fun Halloween. Thank you guys.